Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. The Michigan Wolverines continue the traction on the 2024 class, landing commitment from four-star wide receiver Shannon Goodwin. He's a teammate of Jadyn Davis at Providence Day. I have a lot of takes on Shannon Goodwin and his ranking according to 24/7 Sports. We're going to get into that now. Again, before we get into it, just want to say thank you to the Michigan fans. You know when Dill has the commitment shades on, something went down. Another one for the Michigan Wolverines, but you guys have been just so awesome with all the support. So again, if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if you're a Michigan fan. You guys know we rock with the Michigan Wolverines. We love talking football with you guys in the comment section. So lock in. It looks like it's going to be an exciting next couple of weeks for Michigan. So again, lock in if you do enjoy the content. I'm going to kick this one off to you. Shannon Goodwin coming to Ann Arbor, joining his teammate, Jadyn Davis.
Yeah, I mean, certainly not a huge surprise at this point. I felt like once Jadyn Davis came to Michigan and then you knew Shannon Goodwin was certainly looking at Michigan, it did feel like this was coming or certainly expected. But it does definitely help to get a good wideout in the class, because we've been talking, if Michigan wants to kick this offense up to a new level, they got to unlock something in the pass game and put a little more pressure on teams in terms of getting the ball down the field.
Yeah, this has been something we've been waiting for. Like, it's all I mean, I love more than anyone to get the hard hat on and celebrate the offensive line commits. But we were kind of saying, what are we waiting for? We're waiting for some playmakers on the offensive side of the football, and Shannon Goodwin is for sure a playmaker. What I want to get into is, you see his 24/7 ranking, right? According to the composite, the 72nd wide receiver in the country, 511th nationally. But according to 24/7 Sports, they're a little higher on him, 241st nationally. What I want to talk about, though, is what Michigan does in terms of evaluating high school talent, right? You see Michigan offer some guys that 24/7 Sports might not have on as high on their boards. And as of right now, you got to trust Jim Harbaugh and the scouting team at Michigan, because they've been consistently able to find some diamonds in the rough that may be kind of low 4, high 3-star guys that are producers at Michigan.
And that's the thing. I mean, Michigan they get football players. That's what Jim Harbaugh kind of preaches.
Yes.
That's his message. The blue collar shirts and all that they wear, that's very much what they kind of hang their hat on and what they have been. And it certainly worked. And again, like, you watch Shannon Goodwin, he's not going to be a guy who tests out of the gym or destroys it in the track and field race in North Carolina in terms of like a state qualifier or anything no doubt he'd do well. He's a very good athlete, but he's not that athlete that's going to pop off the screen. And again, when you look at high school in these services trying to recruit or rank guys, I don't know exactly how else they do it, just because it's so hard to factor in level of competition.
And 24/7 Sports does a great job. There's a reason we use their rankings for these kind of shows. Like, they do a great job. I listen to a lot of podcasts with the scouting department at 24/7 Sports, kind of see how the sausage is made, if you will. They do a great job. They are very diligent, but they do place a lot of stock on verified measurements in track and field time, because that's kind of how they use it to project how good you can be at college. Shannon Goodwin, not a track star or anything, but when you do turn on the film, like, it's really hard to find wide receivers that go 68 catches for 962 yards at the high school level as a junior in high school. That's what Shannon Goodwin's stat lines are. He's a football player. He's a very good separator. He's a smooth route runner. Surely it helps having Jadyn Davis throwing you the football, but you see the chemistry between those two. You got to be really excited for them to get to Michigan together and kind of continue to put that together there at Michigan.
Yeah, and that's probably the one big thing is it is a guy Jadyn Davis is going to know when he comes in. And Jadyn Davis is certainly the heir apparent now. I mean, it's going to be his program in a year or two, whatever it's going to be. And he's going to be a one. Like we talk about, when they got a window of winning national championships, it feels like at Michigan. And now these seasons are very much starting to a different level of pressure, because you got to cash in kind of when you have these guys like of the JJ McCarthy, of the Jadyn Davis, that type of ilk. And now we got him, and you'd like to think this is like the type of guy they need to bring in and have Jadyn Davis.
And Shannon Goodwin is a quarterback's best friend. Like, he's a guy that just gets open early in his route trees, and that's something we talk about a lot, is having a guy who can just get open quick and make the reads easy. Ohio State's kind of been blessed with a lot of those kind of wide receivers like JSN, who I'm just going to get open, present myself to the quarterback, and let him be accurate on time with the football. That's kind of the player Shannon Goodwin is, right? He's not 6'4", doesn't run a sub 10 500 meter, but he's a guy that gets open, understands the game, and you do turn on the highlights, tough as nails over the field. He's not the biggest guy, catches everything, body control is very, very good, just understands the position. You look at Michigan and how good they've been kind of scouting some of these diamonds in the rough planet players. Go back to Ronnie Bell, 2-star coming out of Missouri, ends up being the wide receiver to lead Michigan in receiving yards his final season. Rod Moore, an all Big Ten safety, was a low 3-star. Mikey Sandstrill, who started out his career as a wide receiver, now one of the best nickelbacks in the country. All guys who 24/7 Sports not necessarily having the highest ranking on. I think that speaks to two things. One, the player development off the charts. Like you saw Michigan put the third most amount of draft picks into the NFL in 2023. But I think it also has to do with Jim Harbaugh and what you said, scouting the football player, scouting what you see on the field, and getting the guys that maybe 24/7 Sports and other scouting departments across college football don't necessarily see. Jim Harbaugh sees it, goes and gets his guys, and they produce at Michigan.
Yeah, and that's been the recipe for Michigan. And I, again, you hopefully don't see that changing. And now, to me, looking forward, I think a couple more wideouts are coming. I just can't imagine that they don't get it.
We've been talking about that all 2024 class. Like when you get a guy like Jadyn Davis, I think the last couple of years it's kind of been hard to sell the big-time playmaker wide receivers to come to Michigan when, I mean, you're fighting with teams like Ohio State that are not only producing really good wide receivers and putting them into the NFL, but also have that marquee quarterback that's saying, hey, you come to Ohio State, you're going to have a damn good quarterback that's throwing you the football and a very good offense. Michigan, for the longest time, not great quarterback play, not great offensive play in general. It's kind of hard if you're a top 100 dude nationally coming out of high school at the wide receiver position to be optimistic about coming to Michigan. I think you're seeing that tide start to turn. And if you see J.J. McCarthy light it up like we saw at the tail end of that 2022 season, I really do think you're going to see that tide turn, and we're going to start landing some difference makers on the outside.
In that, I do think that's going to be a huge part of this year is if JJ can vault himself into that true first-round pick kind of level of quarterback play, that for Michigan's future and what they can do and what they can sell to a guy like a Ryan Wingo who's going to take an official visit or the guy or Gatlin Blair who obviously is very much rising up boards, and like these guys who are Michigan targets and again, in a lot of cases for the past few years, you've lost them to Alabama, Georgia, Texas, these schools that maybe do play a little more open, Oklahoma, and can spread it out, and these guys can go get their catches and their yards and their stats. And now, again, if they can just put something together this year where JJ plays, essentially like takes that next step and becomes a real dominant player, that to me, I think it would put Michigan at give them a seat at the table for those giant wide.
Oh, I think it's going to be a little bit more of a seat at the table. And you talk about, I kind of want to shift this conversation to, all right, who's next? That's kind of been the story of this whole recruitment process is, all right, we got another guy. Who's next? Take a look at Jordan Shipp, another guy that maybe not valued according to 24/7 Sports that much, but picks up an offer from Michigan. Also is a teammate with Jadyn Davis and Shannon Goodwin at Providence State. Caught for 62 yards, 62 catches, 1,088 yards. Can't really read my notes here. 1,088 yards. Like these guys are productive at the high school level. And now I want to take you to the guy that you talked about, the guy that I think I'm most intrigued in this process, and that's Gatlin Blair. Like a 6'2", 180-pound physical freak out of, 10-2, 900-meter dash, faster than Nichols Harbor out of the state of Idaho. Like these are two guys that, you talk about who's next, especially at the playmaker position on the offensive side of the ball. These two names have to be up there on the list.
And again, that now that with Jadyn Davis there and everything that's kind of going on, who knows when these guys make their commitments? But if they see Michigan put up a good year offensively, I just don't see how we don't get a couple of them. And who knows who and who knows who else we get in the race for? Because it's Jadyn Davis is out there now advocating for it, and
it doesn't. Yeah, it seems like nobody's off the table. Like Michigan's, you noted it at the seat at with all these recruitments. Like they really are. Like Michigan, when you get an offer from Michigan, back-to-back Big Ten championships, back-to-back college football playoff appearances, like you're gonna get a visit. You're gonna get a good, long, hard look from pretty much anyone across the country. Now, I want to bring us to the special 2024 class, and still the number one class in the 2024. The Michigan Wolverines. Probably been watching a little too much UFC. Try to do my best Bruce Buffer there. But Jadyn Davis, Brady Prescorn, who I don't think we talk about enough. We talk about we're only addressing the trenches. Jadyn Davis at the quarterback spot. You look at our top 3 commits. Jadyn Davis at the quarterback spot. Brady Prescorn, an absolute matchup nightmare at the tight end spot. Jordan Marshall, who I kind of deem it as the mini Blake Corum here, and then one of the best offensive tackles in the class, and Andrew Sprague, who is wanted by pretty much every Power 5 team in the country. Like, those are top recruits at top premium positions at the college football level. This 2024 class is turning out to be something special. And you talk about carrying the torch. This is the class that's going to do it.
Yep, and they have to. Again, it's been my mantra. I want to see 2 in the next 5 years. That's what I'm hoping for. 2 national titles in the next 5 years. JJ McCarthy this year, and then Jadyn Davis go get one.
Yeah, you look at the quarterback play that could be coming down the pipe for Michigan. You're always going to have a chance, and now you're surrounding the quarterback with elite protection. And the offensive line is going to be good for like the next 5 years at this point. Like, the amount of talent that's in one offensive line room, being coached by the best offensive line coach in the country, and Sharon Moore. The offensive line is going to be good. The running game is going to be good. I think that next part, the defense is clearly going to be good. That next part is just getting those elite weapons on the outside to have that explosive offense, to win the shootouts consistently that sometimes you have to win, like we should have won against TCU. This is a very, very exciting time to be a Michigan Wolverine. Again, who's next? I don't know. Jacob Smith, Gerard Smith's twin brother, could be next, but we will be back when the next one hits. Again, appreciate you guys checking this out. If you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.